Hey traders, welcome to the weekly Forex forecast for the 18th of August. And let's have a look at the markets today to see where we are likely to see prices head for and whether we can get into some beautiful trades. Congratulations last week on the trades into the pound yen, into the Aussie USD. There was quite a few trades going on, and of course good old fashioned gold as well. So let's get into it. This is the DXY. This is the US dollar index, which measures the direction for the dollar into next week. So we can see that the price is achieving lower highs and lower lows, fairly basic stuff. We do have a very strong support line here of power of 73, which is very strong. So we do expect the price to come down into 97.20. where we could see a rebound or some kind of action there. We're going to have to wait and see. So weaker dollar the early part of next week. In terms of the yen futures, this is a 4-hour chart. We can see that the price is really going nowhere at the moment, so we have to wait our time. Even on the daily, we can see that the price is pretty much sideways. We need to see some kind of direction. However, from the yen pairs analysis, I can see that there are potential buys coming up, so we could see further weakness in this price, but it needs to break this area here of demand here. Once it hits that and goes down, you can be buying all the yen's pairs. Similar situation for the Swiss franc futures. Looks weak at the moment, lower highs, lower lows, so it's forming a channel. However, we're going to have to wait because it's sitting on demand here, not a strong demand. Strong demand is right down there. You can see that there. This is a measurement of how strong the demand is. 84 is strong. So down here is going to be very interesting. If the Swiss franc futures goes that far, it may not. We're going to have to see on the advanced pro charts. The S&P 500. We do have a fresh buy on this. We can see that the sell power 51 is very, very low. And we do have a fresh signal here to go long. And 6818 is the number. Trade at your own risk. UK FTSE 100 has now reached a peak. It's a very weak supply zone. This could get blown out very easily. So we have to wait. This is not a tradable condition, because we're going to have to wait for the price to break out here. Let me change that color. Has to break out here before we actually go long on the FTSE 100 to the upside. Hang Seng, a similar situation here. We've got a weak supply zone up here, so we're going to have to wait and see. Aussie 200, there was a buy, a break of this trend line here, which is the trigger, heading the target of 9139. Trade at your own risk. VIP members would have got that, so if you're in the VIP room, congratulations. Another weak signal. So knowing this information is really useful to actually measure the type of trade or how strong the trade is, if you're looking to trade into these areas here. So this is a very weak supply zone. Probably will go down, but for us it's definitely not strong enough to actually take a trade. No such information. We can go down to the 4-hour chart and see how it looks there. Looks a bit better there, doesn't it? So probably likely to go down, albeit temporarily. Now the Dow Jones into supply, a very weak supply actually. There's no convergence in this area. So we have to go to the daily, and we can see we do have a strong supply on the daily here on the advanced pro charts. So likely to fall into early next week. The Nasdaq, good old Nasdaq. No real information here except that it's long. We do expect the price to go higher. No supply zone at all. Further upside momentum is likely into next week. mentioned oil in the week in the VIP room, and we can see from this that there is highly likely to be a weaker oil price. However, there is something going on closer to the market. If we have a look at this, and this is a very, very strong, above 60 is strong. We need to see the price move up above this trend line here, don't we? So I'll put a trading idea into the VIP room. So above this number here, $63.50. It's highly likely to see this price move back up into next week to 66.91. Look out for that in the week, one of my favorite trades. The euro dollar, now much depends on the dollar. I did say it's going weak, didn't I? Temporarily. There was a strong support line there. So the euro dollar in correlation is highly likely to go down when the dollar goes strong. That's the correlation. But we can see it hitting a supply zone here. But this is a fairly weak supply zone, to be fair. There's no convergence in this area. But we could see this do this and head down here if dollar goes strong. But I suspect this might get blown out in the early days, first couple of days. And how strong is this supply zone? Very strong supply zone here. So this is measured at 68 on the 4-hour chart, and it coincides and converges with the supply zone from previous months. So this is going to be a much more interesting area here, about 11800, where we're likely to see a sell-off if the dollar goes strong from its support line. Hopefully that makes sense. A similar situation for the pound USD, but this is actually looking a lot stronger in terms of a sell, isn't it? So last week we saw the price move down into a power of 81, very, very, very high. Strong buy here, or buy on the break and change of character, and head for target here. Already given to you on your advanced pro charts. There's nothing for you to do on the advanced pro charts. Links are in description if you want to do the 12-month course and coaching and 12-month signals, and you want to learn how to use this system, then I'm happy to help you on your trading journey. So a power of 69 we currently have into Monday morning with a strong supply zone. This is highly likely to be a short position into Monday morning, maybe even first thing, so keep an eye on that. So that convergence is really clear, plus we have negative divergence. Convergence, divergence, change of character, they're the things you're looking for, or you just simply get in on that position. The rest of the dollars pairs are looking fairly mixed, to be honest with you, and not really reaching any significant areas of interest. The Aussie USD did and moved up 108 pips. Congratulations, VIP members. And we can see that the price is just drifting in the middle, really. No interest to us whatsoever at the moment until it moves into a very strong supply or demand area like this. Once it moves into this kind of area here, we are very interested. Very interested. US Swiss, let's see what's going on here. Very difficult to see where this goes next. Probably up to 81.60 if the dollar goes stronger. But not in a very strong demand area or supply. That's right down there. US Canadian, depends how the dollar goes now, doesn't it? So we had a very strong supply zone here, and then the price went down, and now we have a situation where the price is just drifting in the middle. Stronger dollar, this goes up. Weaker dollar, this goes down. Interested areas to look out for is down here at 135.80. And then into 138.69. US yen, really not very clear at all, is it? Go to the daily. Can we see anything more? Excuse my notes on this one. Okay, we do have something going on here. Let's see. Oh yeah. So this is the 4-hour chart on the Advanced Pro charts, and the Advanced Pro charts measures the strength of support and demand. Demand and supply and resistance. So we can see here we have a very strong power of 83 sitting on a very strong demand area, which is what we call convergence. So this price is highly likely to move down to 146.20, where we're likely to see a very strong bounce on that area, especially if the dollar goes strong. So look out for that. Trade at your own risk. I'll keep you updated in the VIP room, of course, as I always do. Just flicking through now. Just flicking through a few very interesting trades coming up. Nice move on the Euro Canadian. Well done, members. If you had that 178 pips, very nice indeed. Could have had more, but we don't like to be greedy, do we? Just flicking through. I can flick through these in seconds and know whether there's any trades coming up. See, now let me just explain this. This is no good to anyone. It is a strong sell signal, but it's not converging with the supply area, which is right up here from previous months. So we want to see the convergence. There's too much of a gap here for this to be a very strong resistance area. We would not want to be trading that either way. Probably going to go up, if anything, to be fair. Pound New Zealand, no. Now this is interesting, Aussie New Zealand. For the reasons as I've set out, we have a very strong sell signal of 76 sitting on a supply zone. So highly likely to fall to 109.50 in the early part of Monday. Similar situation for the Euro Swiss, funny enough. Have a look at this. So it's moving into a sell power of 66 and into a very strong supply zone. So this area here is going to have a problem. Of course, it can break out. It can do what it likes. But at the end of the day, this is highly likely to be rejected into the early part of Monday and will target 92.72. Again, if we have a look at this, it gives us a sell possibility with negative divergence automatically given on the charts here, which helps us to make better decisions. But again, there's a gap here, isn't there? So let's see where there's no gaps, shall we? Okay, into the yens now. This is what I mentioned earlier today. Now I do need to see and clarify that there is going to be a weaker yen futures contracts. That's the correlation. Similar to the DXY and the dollar. You want to see that correlate. But we do have several things going on here. We have number one, strong buy power. We have number two, let's put that as number one. Number two, we have positive divergence, this green line. And then we have a very strong demand area here, which has been failed to break down at least twice. So likely to move up. So any buying opportunity into this demand area at 181.90, it's highly likely to see a bounce up to 185.83. Look out for that. Looks very, very nice. Now, in contrast, the euro yen is just floating, isn't it? There is no support or resistance close to the price, so that's no good for us. So what we want to do is recognize that. So just recognize that immediately you're going to throw that one away. The New Zealand yen's looking very nice, despite the pullback. I think this is still going to go. A strong power of 75. If you're not in it already, then you'll be looking to get into about here, 86.86, and then to target 88.20. Similar for the Aussie yen, but don't do anything now, of course, because the markets are closed. But into this area here is much more interesting. Into demand of our Powell 71, very strong, so you're going to get a few hundred pips out of that. Into the, this is looking really nice. This is the, what is this? Canadian yen. So yeah, something like this is looking very nice. Up to, I've got 108.30, but there's resistance here, so 107.50 is a nice number to go on. Gives you a nice 100 pips early Monday if the price moves up. Pound yen, congratulations. We got about, I banked mine, didn't go the whole way, but if you go for 2 to 1 on the early interest, you'll easily get that for 100, for 90 pips. What could you have got out of that? Let's see, so 130 pips, 140 pips. So a nice move and nice profit, which didn't take actually long. It got rejected. I'll show you this. It got rejected in this area here. See how the price moved out from a very strong supply zone, 65, and then bounced up onto it, back into it, which is highly likely to be rejected. So that happened there. So you can easily get 100 pips out of that. Bitcoin's floating. Euro pound is looking nice. Again, it's the same principle. You want to be looking to get into a very, very strong, higher the number, the higher the probability. We're talking about probabilities here at the end of the day. And the price bounced up from that at, what was the number? 86, just above 86.00. And now the price is moving up. We have a target up here of 87.53. So we're going to get some nice profits out of this as long as it continues and holds on to market structure. So those yens I've mentioned earlier, Canadian yen, etc., looking really hot. So keep an eye on those. They're sitting on very, very strong demand areas, so likely to shoot up. But make sure they correlate with the yen futures if you can do that. I'll keep you posted, don't worry, in the VIP room. If you want to join the VIP room free, then please do so in the links below. And we can see now, well, this is the situation on gold as it finished. Of course, we had the Putin and Trump meeting, which meant everything went absolutely flat. But we didn't expect anything significant to come out of that, and it didn't. So what we're seeing at the moment, we're seeing the price move down into a major demand area with a, sorry, I'm just getting my colours ready, buy power of 61 on the 30-minute chart. So there's likely to be a bounce into Monday morning, but in order for this to happen, we do need to correlate with the US dollar. So the US dollar needs to go strong. You have a target here, 33.45. As long as it holds on above 33.36 to get back up into this supply zone. It's a weak supply zone, but nonetheless, there's also a supply zone here at 33.55. You can make notes of these areas if you wish, and then 33.60. And there's a few up there as well. So much depends on the dollar and whether it rallies or whether it collapses. We're going to have to wait and see. But have a wonderful weekend and speak to you on Monday.